I'm here in the Mire of Shadowfen to showcase my Magicka Warden tank. This is not your typical 50k max health, morbidly obese, stamina perma blocking tank. This is a lot more fun, a lot more risque, and it's got a lot of cool animations. So let's get straight into it with stats. I've got 30k health. This is more than enough for most things, and it's also boosted by maturation ability, which grants me minor toughness when I heal myself, so it's actually slightly higher than this. And I also haven't quite unlocked all my undaunted passives yet, so once I do that it should climb slightly higher. Max Magicka 29k, it's good enough. The only thing I'm going to be using Max Magicka for mainly is for light and heavy attacks and the damage it deals from that. Apart from that, I'm not too concerned about Max Magicka. Max Stamina 18k is good enough for tanking. If not, I can always swap to my back bar and block with a Frost Staff. But this does sometimes lead to problems, as when I'm blocking on my back bar with my Frost Staff, I've got 0 Magicka recovery. So I've actually tried to avoid putting too much Magicka recovery in. So I haven't gone for the Atronach Mundus Stone. Instead, I've gone for the Lord, which gives me a bit more health. You've also probably noticed and are screaming at your screens, your spell damage is terrible. Why is it that bad? And it's that bad because all my damage comes from proc sets and not from my actual weapon damage or spell damage. And that's because a lot of my skills don't scale off spell damage either. So Lotus Blossom doesn't scale off it either, and Arctic Blast scales off max health. So let's get into the sets. I've got Valkyn, Skoria and Winterborn, and these synergize really well. So if you check my Frost damage abilities, you'll see that they're all damage over time. So Arctic Blast, Winter's Revenge, Blockaded Frost, they're all damage over time abilities. So not only do they proc the Winterborn set, which procs from cold damage, they also proc the Skoria, Valkyn Skoria set, which procs from damage over time. So you're getting two really cool animations, great single target damage, and they're procking from abilities which also are very cheap and do great damage and provide utility as well. So the other set, and this set I cannot recommend highly enough if you're a Magicka tank and an Argonian. This has saved my ass so many times. Let's give you a scenario. Let's say I'm on the final boss of Veteran Maelstrom Arena, and the Daedroth is melting my face while the Daedric Summoner's there, and Voriac Solkin is having a time of his life. Well, if I pop block, and proc this set, I'm getting a 17k heal and I'm back in the game. And all of a sudden I can finish off those cheeky little what's-its-names. So it really helps keep me going. And this is really helped by the Argonian passive, which increases your healing received, as well as your heavy armor passive. I'm 5'2", heavy armor, light armor. And this gives me a bit more healing received as well. So it's really useful, and it synergizes really well with those sets. And it's also a 10-second cooldown, and it's really easy to proc. So you can block, proc it, then switch to your back bar, and you don't need this setup active anymore. So I can have whatever Frost Staff I want on my back bar. I could have Maelstrom, Masters, or Asylum. I've gone for Maelstrom because I use Blockade of Frost routinely for my immobilization. So I'm going to have it up anyway as a skill, so I might as well have a weapon which synergizes with that. You could have Master's weapon or the Asylum weapon, but I'd have to add skills to my skill bar that I'm not already using to actually make use of them. I mean, the only one that might be useful is the Asylum one, because I often use Crushing Shot to interrupt things, and that would work with that. But other than that, I really don't see a use to having other destruction staffs there. Yeah, two very nice sets. I've also got quite a few interesting skills, I'd say. A lot of my skills, as I've said before, don't scale with spell damage. Two essential skills here are Winter's Revenge and Blockaded Frost, and these are synergized with each other. Now, I've gone for Winter's Revenge instead of Gripping Shards, because Gripping Shards scales with max health, and it does about half the damage. And what you're getting in return for that half the damage is a 3-second immobilization. Now, this skill, Winter's Revenge, is part of the Winter's Embrace skill line, and Winter's Embrace abilities give you a 200% chance to proc the chilled effect, which is minor main. Now, if you go and look at Blockade of Frost, you'll see that chilled enemies become immobilized. So this increases their chance to get chilled, and this immobilizes chilled enemies. So you're getting a much better, much larger AoE and damage from Blockaded Frost combined with Winter's Revenge instead of just popping Gripping Shards. Now, if you're a stamina tank, yeah, I can understand if you'd pop it, but if you're a Magicka tank, always go with Winter's Revenge. So for other skills, it's really variable. The Warden is a master of no trades, but a jack of all trades. So I often swap out skills to whatever the situation demands. So if I'm fighting Lord Warden and I need mobility, I put up Bird of Prey. But in general, I'll always have Blue Betty for sustain. Sometimes Elemental Drain if no one else is running it for sustain. Definitely Ice Fortress for protection. These two, essential. You can't leave home without them. Arctic Blast, yes, you're healing and doing damage at the same time. That's perfect. Leeching Vines, always have this, always. It's such a great anti-group ability. It keeps you alive so many times. Now there's optional ones. Growing Swarm, not as amazing as you might think. It helps proc the Savage Beast ability, and it also helps with the Flourish if you haven't got the Guardian's Wrath as your ultimate. It can be quite useful, but not always. Lotus Blossom, this is good because it doesn't scale for spell damage and also provides heals for you and your group, as well as providing you with Minor Prophecy. So if you've got a boss that's attacking too frequently, I would use this, so you can get some heals off, and it helps with Nature's Gift passive. So you're going to gain Magicka stamina every time you're healing people with this, as it's an AoE. Well, it's not an AoE heal. It'll heal you in a radius. So that works really well. But once again, my Guardian's Wrath is only for single target damage. So if I'm doing Vet Maelstrom or for one-man dungeons where DPS can be a bit more laissez-faire, I'll use this. But if I'm in Trials or PvP where there's way more people, I will not have this single target damage ability. I'll have some sort of heal like Enchanted Forest or its morphs, and then I'll have damage ability. So Permafrost is alright for group utility. If I want a bit more single target damage for PvE, I'll have Ice Comet. It's really good, procs all your sets. And yeah, I mean, I still like Eternal Guardian. It's great for roleplay and stuff like that. If you're having a bit more trouble with blocking, I'd go with Shield Wall. Sometimes I do run out of resources. Shield Wall is a lifesaver. I'd get the Reflecting Morph. It just helps keep you going. So yeah, apart from, I think that's pretty much it for this build. Just show you me killing some crocodiles. They are an absolute blight in the mires of Shadowfen, and many a young adventurer or tank has spent far too long trying to kill these absolute monsters. So as you can see, procs are really easy to get off. It's a really nice set for RP as well. You can also have a stamina variant of this set. So what you have, the stamina variant is Selene's, which summons your ghostly bear. You've got Clockwork City one, Unfathomable Darkness, which spawns a series of crows when you deal damage, for a sort of stamina shaman style sorcerer. Now, for the final set, for that sort of playstyle, I haven't really found one that works with it. I was trying Morkaldin for a while, but you can go for the opposite sort of RP experience. But for me, Magicka tank as always, and I'm never going to change that. Right, see ya.